going on right now. Okay. Um, so welcome back to Maji Talks. You are my first guest since we've come back. Today we're going to talk about something very important, very timely. That's why you are the first one. What's going on with citizens? I know there's something very, very urgent that's going on, and I just want to start with that.
Yeah. So citizens currently, there's two big things that are currently happening with them. One, we're obviously going into hurricane season, so we have about 6 months of one premium increases. At the beginning of this year, we saw a decrease of about 8 to 15% within companies, and it's realistically due to us not having a lot of losses last year due to no hurricanes passing. Now in Miami, we all know it's more so of when it happens, not if it happens. So that decrease is going to kind of subside when we go now into hurricane season. So there might be even an increase or it might stay almost the same. But Citizens One, if you own a Citizens Win only policy, they are currently, if you cancel during hurricane season, they are withholding anywhere between 60 to 80% of premium. So it's almost like they prorate only like 20%. So if you're rewriting, if you're having complications with your documentation, if anything that underwriting can backtrack you for, you could look at losing money before even rewriting. And then if you have to rewrite, then obviously you're going to be stuck with a higher premium. That's the first thing. The second
Well,
thing,
hold
which
on,
is
hold on,
really
hold on,
big.
hold on, hold on. Let's unpack that because that was a lot. If
Yeah,
I'm understanding this correctly, um, basically don't change insurance policies during hurricane season. It will cost you. That's what I'm getting out of
if
that.
it's worth it to change, because sometimes people are getting are paying an arm and a leg, as we might say. Sometimes it's worth it. But if you are renewing, make sure you're renewing correctly. Make sure the company is has all the documentation they need. If you're rewriting your policy, just be careful before canceling your previous policy. Make sure that everything is in hand with the new agent, just because you don't want any back and forth with the underwriters.
So when you said that they're holding it in escrow in essence, like what lenders do with,
They're just keeping the money. Yeah, so they're just no, they're not gonna ever give it back to you.
what?
So yeah,
Wait, that's insane. So
yeah.
citizens, if you try to change your policy during hurricane season, citizens,
If it's a win only policy and you cancel the policy, and it's not because you sold the property, it's not because there was a death maybe and that property has to go into like an estate planning situation. If you literally move from a win only policy out, they can keep 60 to 80% and not give it back to you.
how's that?
It's
Okay.
protocol of citizens. Yep. Yeah, it's written into their I guess statutes, you can say. And unfortunately it's they are the state, they can decide on what they want to do.
And
And
they're
they're
the
obviously
biggest. And
and they're the
so basically
biggest.
this affects all of the coastal neighborhoods because
Yep.
everybody east of
Yep.
Biscayne pretty much is citizens only for
Yep.
wind.
Yep.
Uh,
Well, yeah, not even you can east of the 95. So our wind only pool is anywhere between 4 to 5 miles inland. Depends on
right,
the area, but
right.
we're talking about outskirts of nice neighborhoods or outskirts of coastal areas that you might not think, they're not in a flood, they might not be in a flood zone. They might be close to the pike, but they're still not in what's quote unquote traditional wind pool. They can qualify for one only, and if they have one only, and for whatever reason it cancels out, because as we've seen, Citizens has non-renewed a lot of policies. You
Yeah,
could
so what
be
happens in that situation? If they just decide not to renew you, do you get that money back?
so usually if it's a depopulation, they would depopulate you on renewal, so there isn't no money that they will have, so it's fine. Because they can't non-renew during the term. Now, if you renew during hurricane season and they had depopulated you, you're gonna be with a new company now, probably paying almost the same thing that you're previous playing with Citizens, which is fine. That's great. As long as you can stay away from we as agents, a lot of us cannot write win only policy because there isn't a market for it. There's probably two or three companies that are writing wind only policies in Florida.
Yeah.
Now I've seen a lot of companies, they have accepted citizens selling wind only policies, and then they do take on that account. It's more like an
Right. And they
exchange
take on the
program.
homeowners
Right,
and
right. But
everything
they
else.
wouldn't accept they wouldn't accept a new written policy, for example.
So, okay, so hurricane season starts in 1 week, right?
Yep. Yep. Roughly about a week. Yep.
Okay, so people out there in cyber world, you need to get on this. Review your policies now, immediately. Whatever changes you need to make them now.
June 1st is kind of like the cap where we start as far as insurance start considering hurricane season. It's from then until November 30th, I believe.
Okay. So what do you recommend that homeowners do, other than what I've just mentioned?
First thing is just grabbing your documentations. A lot of homeowners do not see their documentation. They either the agent has it or they have it in some paperwork under their desk. Grab your declarations, check them out. Make sure not you're not paying for something that you might not need, or you're paying for something that you do need, which you think you have it, and then catastrophe comes and you're not covered. Review your policies. Second, make sure you have all your inspections in hand, like a 4 point with mitigation. And three, shop. You don't lose anything with shopping.
And you have a
You
week
know,
and a half to do it.
and you have in a weekend exactly.
Um,
We statistically we can't know what's the numbers difference. Like traditionally it's about a 5 to 10% increase, but we cannot know what's the difference between maybe a May policy and a June or July policy. I know that a lot of policies, if you have been with a company for more than a year or even 2 years, renewals eat you up. So I know that maybe even in that renewal,
I've noticed that
if you're able to
they
save,
just increase you because they realize you're not going to change and you're not looking at it and they
yep,
take advantage.
after for auto is
Yep.
after a year, for homeowners is after 2 years. That's when they start eating you up. Yep.
Yeah, I had that with my car insurance, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So also what people should be doing is opening their mail. If you
Yeah.
get anything in the mail or email regarding your insurance, do not ignore that. I would think that everybody should just double check their policies right now,
Yep.
immediately, just to make sure it's current.
Of course,
And
yeah.
I,
And
and
make
I
sure
feel
that
like the number one thing that people are uninsured with is water. Like people don't understand that mold is very
huge,
yeah,
it's
and you
huge in
really need a
Florida.
rider for mold, right?
Yep. Well, so that's the thing. So a lot of policies are written without water. And then there's kind of like a fine gap between mold and water because obviously we know traditionally if there's a small leak, mold is caused. Water damage is considered a burst of water or damage to the plumbing or damage to the drains, whatever. Which mostly almost every property got almost every property in Florida under almost 40 years probably has only a $10,000 cap plus a
Exactly.
mold that's probably a 10-20. That doesn't cover nothing nowadays. So
Nothing, nothing.
if you're able to, if you're eligible, so that you have to be eligible for full water, or even maybe now companies are giving you $25,000 of coverage depending on your dwelling. It's way better than 10,000, because it's ten
Still
thousand
not
minus your
enough.
deductible.
It's still not enough. I
Still
mean,
not enough. Yeah, it's still not enough, but at least it
it
covers you a
cost
little
it
more.
cost me like close to $7,000 when I had water intrusion when I owned a condo in a that was caused by a unit above me, a water heater that burst. And it caused a tremendous, my tenants did not tell me about it, and there was a lot of mold and this and that. And so, yeah, yeah,
It gets costly,
it,
especially when mold gets involved because you
yeah,
you have to find the damage and then you have to
yeah,
rip
right. You have to
apart the
fix it. You
property.
have to, exactly. You can't
Yeah.
just, that's not something you can like
You
just
can't put a
treat
little bit of the
chills.
degrease or something, kill it, and that's it. You can't do
No bleach, bleach, no,
that.
bad.
No bleach, no bleach. Exactly.
Okay, so let me get back to my questions. I have them written down. Okay, so you mentioned there's only 1 week. We talked about that. Um, and that if
Can I bring something
yeah,
up again for
yeah,
citizens?
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is pretty quick. Citizens policies currently right now, if you have over a dwelling of $400,000, which is basically almost any property in Florida, Citizens is enforcing flood coverage. Next year, it's going to be every citizen's policy, even win-only policies. So if you have a win-only policy or a regular citizen's policy, you're going to get forced placed flood, or they're going to request for you to get flooded. Now they cancel you out. So
So that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing about this now for several years, and quite honestly, I've been telling my clients, get the flood now while it's less expensive, because once it's forced place, it's going to get more, it's going to get more
it's
expensive.
gonna go up.
Yeah,
And another thing, we live in Florida. Anywhere in Florida, it's a
you can
flood
get a
zone.
flood anywhere.
Unfortunately, anywhere. So unless you're like somewhere in the central, somewhere in the somewhere
Or
in
you're
the
not
middle of
near any
nowhere.
kind of water, and and even
Yeah,
then, because really, no, you know what? There's because in Florida, South Florida, we have it's a triple issue that we have. We have flooding from rainfall, from sea rise, or from a canal, a
yeah,
waterway nearby, and also coming up from the ground
yeah.
because of the
And any
aquifer.
rising water that comes into your property, it's not covered under your home insurance.
Yeah, I learned that the
Really
hard way
big.
with the property we used to own in Sanibel, and thank God we did have both, flood and wind and all of it. But they were fighting it out, and
Yeah.
because there was a hurricane hit, and there was broken glass, but the whole argument was, what was the source of the water?
What's the proximate cost? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that is very good. Okay, so before we go deeper, because I wanted to get to this because that was so urgent.
Yeah.
You're, I mean, you're really part of a younger generation entering insurance during one of the biggest shifts in our industry. Um, Tell me about yourself. I mean, I know about you, but let's tell
Yeah.
everybody else. And
So I'm
what drew
actually
you into property insurance? I want to know that.
So I'm actually a second generation insurance agent. I was taught by my great aunt, or my aunt, better said. She's been in the industry for
Well,
almost
she's
25
great.
years now.
She's your
Yeah,
aunt, and
she's
she's great.
great, but she's my aunt slash. There you go. She's been in the industry for 25 years. She's seen everything in Florida. Um, I was taken under her wing about 3.5 years ago. Started doing data entry, and fell in love with the assistance of insurance. So what I mean by that, insurance is such a complex thing, but simple at the same time. It's easy to get over to be overpaid, and it's also very easy to not be covered. It's literally click, one click that an agent can put can affect you thousands of dollars. And I saw this as a situation where people were misinformed, people were not being helped, and the biggest thing with insurance is nobody's getting a call back, which I don't understand. If our we're in the industry to help people, we're not in the industry to sell. We're not in the industry to get appointed. We're in the industry to help and assist in the worst parts of your life, right? And agents won't come back. Agents are answering, and I had to take initiative. And back in August, which when we're in May, 8 months ago, I started my own agency with Galt Insurance that has
I'm so proud of you.
already.
You're like really, I mean, it's amazing what you're doing. And
Thank
you
you.
have such
Thank you.
a bright future ahead of you.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think it's going to be great. And you learn from somebody that was really experienced. So that's awesome.
And I'm still learning. And the great
Uh-huh.
part of my company, I am very well educated. I always stay up to form on my insurance, my things. But I have people who know, obviously, have been in the industry 30 years. They know a lot more than me, and they guide me. I need advice. I need help. I have people that can assist me, which I felt that was the biggest thing with John Galt is the assistance that I get, um, for questions I might not have the answer to.
We all had that. I've been in real estate for 31 years, and I still have questions from time to time. Few, not that many anymore.
It's our field. Our field in Florida
It's
is
constantly
so
changing.
changing.
It's
Yes.
constantly changing. And real estate right now is just crazy. It's like every day. I saw this really funny post the other day, and it was this guy that was dead serious, and he's a realtor, but he's got a huge following, and he's like, "Okay, I have to share this really important news." And then he's like, "For the first time in, I mean, this is just unprecedented. There is no news in real estate."
It's
You know,
funny. It's a
because it's been
miracle.
like every day there's been some insane announcement, like who's buying out who, and the same with insurance. You guys have been dealing with it now for a while.
Yep. A lot of companies coming in, a lot of companies coming out, the different different regulations that they change, different acceptance. Luckily, due to like I said, there's been it's kind of like half right now. So companies have gotten a little stricter, some companies have gotten a little better. It just really depends on the property, obviously, and the zip code.
Oh, I did refer you last night. I don't know if you saw that. I
I
referred you to
did
one of
see
my
it. Yeah,
neighbors
thank you so
for
much. I
homeowners and
appreciate
auto.
that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
If you get in good with them, word spreads very fast, but also
There you go.
remember, if it doesn't go well, word spreads very fast. So do it. I'm not
It's
worried
like
about you.
a double-edged
Oh
sword.
yeah, oh yeah, it really does.
Always.
It's a tight community. But okay, so getting back to you. So I think what your differentiator is service. You provide service on top of everything. And you have resources that you can lean on if you need them.
Yeah.
But you have the
I
backing of your aunt,
yeah.
who is
My
great.
my my pride, yeah, there you go. My pride is that you can call me, you can text me whenever. If obviously if I can't answer because of whatever situation, I'll send a text back. That same day, you're gonna within maybe an hour, you'll be getting a contact back from me. Same number that my clients use is the same number my mom calls me when I'm in trouble. It's the same number, and I don't expect ever to change it just because I like the one-on-one person, the one-on-one connection with my clients. Clients know me by name. Clients, can call me for whenever and I just want to be adhere to my clients.
Yeah, that's all. That's really, honestly, that's very unique. We don't see that enough anymore.
No, no.
Okay, so let me get back on track. What is something that homeowners misunderstand about insurance today?
I would say if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So if you think you're getting a cheap policy, you think you're getting a great deal, review it. Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. But don't bite the bullet. Sometimes a higher deductible, less coverage, less protection, things that you might not even see on the declaration page. It might be in the policy jacket, which you don't
Yeah,
get until
I
you write the
know.
policy.
That's you can't
That's
even. It's
huge.
hard to shop that because you're shopping deck pages, right?
Yep,
And
yep,
that's not
yep.
everything.
Not everything. Most things that are kind of generic. I've seen a lot of documents that they don't list the water coverage. They don't list the replacement costs on the dwelling, which,
Yeah.
as we know in Florida, if you have a mortgage, your replacement cost has to be, or your replacement on your loss settlement on the property needs to be replacement cost, not actual cash value. That's big. I've seen a lot of those things being changed. Um, I've even seen, people give me a quote and the quote looks amazing. And when we realize, or I run it, because most times I have the same company, they didn't run the insurance score. Insurance score is basically like a credit history of your insurance. How you paid, what's your history, do you have any
Yeah,
losses?
you guys run a
That
credit,
affects
you run a
huge.
background check on your client.
Basically, yep.
Yeah.
Basically, yep. And that's huge. That can I've seen policies double be
And then
just
you
because of,
also, it's hard. I mean, most of the insurance companies that, I've ever worked with my clients, always require a 4 point or a wind, depending on the age of the property,
yep,
before they even give a quote. And then they also require the social because they need to run the check because they
yep.
can't, you're right, because how do you, they
How
can't
can
really give
you
you an
how can
accurate
you
price.
insure somebody you don't know?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's the idea. That's the
And
idea.
the property, you need to know the person and the property.
Yep. Because they
Yeah.
go hand in hand.
All right. So that's, uh, why are so many homeowners confused about citizens and insurance changes right now, in your opinion?
I think there's a lot of documentations being passed around. A lot of, it's this is still something new. Depopulation has been happening for the last 2, 3 years,
Yeah.
but the difference in companies, the difference in coverages, citizens maybe every 2 months have something new coming out. So it's the same thing. It's a revolving industry, and a lot of people don't keep up with the insurance. Most people
Well, that's why
don't
we
pay
have
it.
you. It's impossible to keep up,
It's
really.
it's impossible. I always tell everybody, it's not your job to know your insurance. It's your agent. It obviously you should know, something, but I don't expect you to know coverage A through F
But
and
you
all
know
the
what?
all the
Unless you reach out
endorsements.
to your agent, they're not gonna tell you. It's not like, agents don't really have the time to reach out to all their people.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't we obviously do not get updated on renewals. So it's like people get renewed, they might be getting overcharged, and we don't
You
know.
don't get
Unfortunately,
updated
we
on
don't.
renewals?
We get updated on renewals, but it's on the back end. My customer service team gets the renewals. They make sure the payments are being sent. But if you got charged, if you paid 2,000 last year and you're paying 4,000 now, I wouldn't be able to make that connection until you come up to me and tell me, "Hey, I have my renewal. Can you shop it?" Which that's the biggest thing. I always tell everybody, every renewal for home, shop it every year. Auto, if not every 6 months, every year, because it's the same thing. It's ins and outs of companies coming in and out, and you never know. A lot of us pay insurance through our escrow. If you have an escrow, you have a mortgage, so you don't see the bill,
Right,
but
right,
it's there.
right. It's
It's
there.
there.
You're paying for it. Yeah.
You're paying for it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, a lot of people have this misconception that the longer you stay with the company, like you're going to get grandfathered in. That doesn't work that way.
Doesn't exist anymore. It
Yeah, that
doesn't.
doesn't
State
work that way.
Farm has been the only company that if you've been with them for 15, 20 years, that yes, that
Yeah,
they
but
have
then
grandfathers.
they charge
But you
you.
have a loss and then they drop you. And that's it. And
Yeah.
that's the
Or
end
they
of that
charge
story.
you like I mean, crazy amount. Yeah.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So,
There's no loyalty within companies no more with their insureds. Unfortunately, it's just the thing that we are in
numbers.
Florida.
It's a numbers game.
It's a
It's
numbers
profit.
game. It's a
Yeah.
business, unfortunately, and we do not know where it's going to end. The best thing I always tell clients is continue battling, continue shopping, continue looking for the best, good coverage, but the best deal, obviously. Um, and you have to play the game.
And how can you shop insurance apples to apples? Because if the deck page is not showing everything, then how can you?
Most times the deck page does show. It depends on the company. Different deck pages have different I guess what you can say, not coverages but different displays of endorsements. The biggest thing is you always get the main coverages, but the endorsements sometimes are not on the deck page or are on it but not fully. Some
So you
companies
want
have.
to make sure that they get a deck page with the endorsements.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, or if they have the policy jacket, that's even great too. I know it's a 70-page paper,
Yeah,
but
that's a
it's
huge
good to have
document.
it around. Have it somewhere around. And most companies now are have a paperless option, which you save a couple dollars, but you also can keep everything electronic, and it's just that attach. You look through your
Yeah.
Outlook, you click it, and it's there.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're definitely worth that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what mistakes are homeowners making when it comes to insurance coverage? I know we've covered up
Um,
quite a few of them already.
one big thing is waiting to your renewal to shop. Why? Like I said, if you've been with a company for more than 2 years,
Or
you're
a week
probably
before hurricane season.
or a week before hurricane. There you go. Wait until last minute. Try not to wait last minute. Um, Another thing is also focusing on the premium instead of understanding the coverage. That's huge. You can have two properties side by side, and they could be paying two different things of insurance just because of roof condition, wind mitigation credits, uh, certain liability coverages, whatever. So one, don't wait until renewal if you've been with your company for more than 2 years, and two, don't always look at the big number. Understand the coverages. I put this simple. I say you have an escrow. Let's say a better policy, a way better policy is $1,000 more a year. Well, $1,000 a year is roughly about $80, $90 more a month. So
Right.
what is the
What's the
trade?
difference?
Right.
You're
You
getting more
spend the 80
coverage. It's usually more coverage.
exactly. You spend the $80, $90 more a month and you're correctly covered, or you save the $80, $90 that you're probably gonna spend somewhere else,
And you
and then a catastrophe
gamble.
hits, you're kind of done. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's worth being insured properly, especially
Correct.
in South Florida. Um, and another mistake that I think people make if they do wow, that is one huge, it's a huge thing of water. Sorry, I had to.
No, no, I'm
It's
sorry.
enormous.
I got tired of refilling all the time, so I just have a half a
Oh,
gallon
yeah,
and
yeah.
just refill a couple
Okay.
of days ago.
That's like your daily amount, right? Pretty much. Two of them. You drink waters? Wow. Okay.
Because I sweat a lot. Yeah, I sweat a
Uh,
lot.
yeah. The one thing that people are not doing that I'm seeing is they may like redo their roof or change their windows, but they forget to get the new 4 point
Insurance.
and submit it because the credits are huge. I mean, we saved
Big.
like 40% on our insurance when we had our roof and windows done. It's
We've
huge.
seen
It's massive.
policies drop. Yeah, 40%. Even like we've seen, you know, triple a policy down. So you might be paying $7,000 or $8,000 on your wind policy or whatever, and now you might be paying 4,000, 3,000. That's almost double, and it's a big chunk a month that you're saving.
It's a
Um,
huge amount. And
that you
people
don't have to
forget,
spend,
they just do because there's always so many things going on, and that's a big,
especially
huge
as a homeowner.
inconvenience.
Especially as a
Yeah,
homeowner, you have so many things.
going
Something might
on.
break. And,
Yeah.
you're the last thing you're thinking about is insurance.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately.
it really is.
But if
But
you stay up to your mail, if you stay on your mail and you have when you get that renewal offer, there you go. That's all you got to
yeah.
worry about.
Well, not even. We contacted, this was several years ago, when we did the roof. Our roofer designed a roof for our house is from 1958. And so he designed a roof specially for these older homes. And the inspector didn't even know, and he's somebody I trust completely. Didn't even, so we had to put them in communication. He was like really impressed with the roof. Anyways, we got a huge discount.
Yeah,
Um, and just
it
don't
was probably the slope that they helped you with the slope, even the slope of
no
a
straps.
property.
It was the straps, the
Oh,
way
the
that,
straps. Oh yeah,
yeah,
forget
yeah,
that.
it was the way
That's
that they
thousands
did
of
the.
dollars. Yep.
Yeah, it was the way that they designed the straps because in older homes it's more challenging. And anyways, it was like a very, very, very significant savings. So
Yeah. 100%.
okay. So as a realtor, and we discussed this in our real estate sphere meeting last week,
Yep.
which is, one of the reasons why I'm interviewing you right now. Uh, I'm seeing insurance become part of the conversation very early on. Almost at the first conversation I had with a buyer, they're talking about insurance, and it was so super interesting that our lender in our chapter, Nellie, mentioned that's because the lenders are actually bringing it up early on, which I didn't know, and so I found that very, very interesting that lenders are also understanding the importance of insurance. Um, I mean, what do you think? Are you thinking, because my prediction is that insurance is going to be a significant driver of the market.
Well, now insurance is the one of the underlying factors of you can close a property or not. So
Oh
think
yeah, for
about
sure.
you're putting all this money into a property, and now, for example, easy, very common in Florida, or South Florida, we have roofs that don't have permits. So the roof now without a permit can cost you $1,000 to $2,000 a year. That's significant amounts. So it's they're more aware now of prior claims, flood zones, which are huge. If you don't have such a good realtor like Maji that helps you find a good flood zone, and you're in a -2 elevation, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for a flood. And so I've seen that it's become
Yeah,
the talk.
very few realtors are doing that. That I've always done that we've been in our home for 24 years in Morningside. I'm a block and a half from the bay, and my house is zone X, and the house next door is flood zone.
Wow. And the amount of times that flood has changed and you have not, and you're still, because
No, that
there's
was
been
very
revisions.
intentional. That was very
Yeah,
intentional.
yeah.
Our home is raised. It's the second highest point within the neighborhood, and our home is raised. Even though it's a 1958, it's raised significantly. So we are, we'll be an island, but we'll be fine.
Uh,
Uh,
exactly, yeah. So it's accessibility
But
now and
it's very, very
affordability.
important. It's such an important, as I actually spend a lot of time educating my buyers on that. But what can a homeowner who may be not as fortunate, maybe in like, a zone AE or, flood zone, which is really most of Miami, what can they do to minimize, and this is probably not a question for you, but what have you seen? I mean, can they like minimize flood risk in their home? Is there
So
anything that actually adds credits? Like, is there anything that we haven't discussed that like to prevent, like maybe better drainage or, troughs or, anything else for resiliency, and that would actually add credits and lower the price of insurance.
The for flood, it would be more so elevation certificates. A lot of and I do not know how the process works. I know that when these certificates do come, most times they do help you save a good amount. Just because you're crediting the flood or the possibility of a flood of why the property might have flooded or whatever. Um, I believe there should be a process of how to help the property or credit the property in a sense. I don't think you can obviously lift up property and fix it, but there should be
There should
something there
be.
that can
I
help.
agree. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
working
I
on
think
that, by
now
the
in
way.
2026 there should be a lot of aid for that.
Yeah,
And then
I'm working on that on a higher level within the insurance industry to try to get credits for long-term insurability of a property in new construction, for example, and credits for resiliency, because it's going to be hopefully fewer losses. Because I mean, I think our biggest loss is like water damage, right? I mean, that's
yeah, water damage and well,
wind.
I guess it goes hand to hand. Water damage and mold. That's our biggest loss
Water,
when
well,
it's
yeah, water damage and
non-touch.
mold. You can't have them. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other nowadays. That and then obviously we know hurricanes.
So what homes are harder to insure right now in Miami?
The
Like,
older
is there
homes,
an
unfortunately.
age cutoff? Is there a roof cutoff?
Um, so now, and that's a big thing also, now you touched on that. The roof ages have changed. So
Yeah, I know.
before a tile roof would last 35 years. Realistically, a tile roof can last about 50 years roughly, but for insurability, it was 35. Now it's 25. After 25 years, you're going to get an actual cash value property policy. Problem is, when that loss happens, they're going to only give you a percentage of how much the roof is cost, minus your deductible.
Wow, because that's not replacement.
It's
That's
not so if the roof is $20,000, which no roof is 20, but let's say it's $20,000. Um, they minus your deductible. Let's say it's not a hurricane loss. Let's say it's a regular loss. That's 17,500 minus they'll give you maybe a 30%, 40%. Realistic, if the roof is 25 years, they'll probably give you 20, 30% because they have kind of like a cap off. Like this is a max we can give you, which is 30 or 40%,
so it's
which is
25 is the
nothing.
cutoff, 25 years?
Most tile roofs currently, most companies are insuring the replacement cost up to 25 years. Some companies,
Okay.
like Citizens, gives you up to 35 years. Obviously, you have to be accepted with Citizens to do it. Some companies are roughly under 30 years, but 25 is the max I've seen. And an asphalt roof or a shingle roof, yeah, 20 years, it's very hard to get replacement costs on it. So,
Yeah, like
because
all
it
those
needs to
flat
have
roofs.
5 years of eligibility at least.
I mean, all those flat roofs. There's a lot of flat roofs.
Flat
In
roofs, forget it.
addition,
Flat roofs nowadays, they're lasting, for insurability, I'll probably say under 15 years. And you can hot mop it as much as you want, but it's still the permit is still going to show it's under 15 years. They can give you 5 years, but for it to be covered, and we do have properties here in Florida that obviously have flat roofs only, which is a headache to
well, I would
insure.
say, but what I'm seeing a lot of, most of is, additions, like a family room addition or, another bedroom. A lot of the time back in the day, they were done with flat roofs.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And now obviously those need to be eligible as well because it wasn't, patio obviously would usually be flat. Patio it's I mean, the roof it isn't as value as an addition, even though it might seem as almost the same type of roof,
Mm,
but it's considered under the primary roof, which there it affects your eligibility.
interesting. Okay, so one of the things that I talk about with Maji Synergy, because Maji is my brand, it's my name and it's my brand, but
Yeah.
Maji Sold is my real estate business, and Maji Synergy is the work that I'm doing. It's an initiative that I'm doing to um, try to build awareness between the importance of resiliency and real estate. values and, with developers and with our community leaders. And so I'm without become not, I don't want to be an alarmist and I don't want this to come off like that. Um, one of the things that I'm really, thinking about is long-term insurability. And I always think about that when I'm looking at a property.
How long can it be covered for
Yeah, like,
correctly? Yeah.
is it going to be insurable in 10, 20 years?
That's huge because I've seen a lot of closings that they're like, yeah, you can close now, but you got to do XYZ. Sometimes those XYZs within the first year are done. So what happens after that? You know, you might need a new roof, you might need a whatever, you might need a water. That's another big thing I see. Like a lot of people have older water heaters that need to be replaced.
Oh yeah, there's
And they're
a
like,
that
yeah,
like
I'll take care of it. And then later down the line, policies canceling it out because the water heater was not replaced,
yeah.
which
How
is
old
a
are
simple
what's the
fix, but
cutoff?
obviously it needs to be done.
What's the cutoff for water heaters?
Some companies are doing 15 years inside of the property, 20 years in the garage. Other companies are limiting 20 years, either or. 15 years, I always say after 15 years is a little more difficult. So if you can keep under that 15-year, I actually just wrote a property now with an 18-year water heater. And they say as long as it's not rusting, which at that age it almost is, but as long as it's not rusting and it's not damaged, we can give them that extra 2, 3 years.
Interesting. Um, so looking ahead, what do you think insurance companies are paying closer attention to?
Roof age, condition, um, water damage risk. Those are the biggest things now. Luckily, there has been some companies that have changed. So before you cannot have a water loss within 3 to 5 years, roughly. Now they're allowing like companies like Edison. They're allowing one water loss or one non-catastrophe, non-hurricane related loss within 3 years, which is it's made it a little easier to write with them. But those are the things, the biggest things they're looking at is roof age, their condition. They're very, even if it's in good, even if it's a good age, it needs to look pristine. Cannot be all, different tiles everywhere, different colors. It might be dirty. Flat roofs cannot show any decay. Flat roofs are very, very, uh, you can almost say eye candy to the companies. They don't want to mess around with the flat roof, so the flat roof needs to be in pristine condition. Um, and
I mean, is there any
you know,
maintenance that people should be doing to their roofs?
yes, I believe every 6 months to a year, you should be servicing your roof, meaning making sure there's no tiles broken, because a towel or a shingle can go flying from a small wind gust. So just make sure, because the last thing you want to do is that insurance company, for whatever reason, passes by and does an aerial check and sees that your roof is having an issue. Or you need to go out and do an inspection because you might be moving on to a new company, and then now you're halted because your roof has a couple tiles in it. So servicing your roof every year, making sure you're always checking your electrical, your plumbing, making sure you have no leaks. Big thing I also advise, which can help with insurance as well, is sensors, water sensors.
Oh
You can
yes,
install
I
them.
had those in the
That's
condo. My gosh, that saved me a
saves. Yeah,
couple of times.
it
Yep.
saves, it helps you a bit with insurance. The
Can you
companies
talk
like
about
Ver
what that is though, for the people that don't
Yes,
know?
water sensors are basically like a sensor that cuts off water, if it senses or alerts you as well, I think. If there's a leak, if it feels some type of water, I think it has like a cap that once it gets to the sensor, it shuts off the valve and then alerts you, I believe. Which is
Is there a smart water sensor? Because that would be
I
super
believe so. I
convenient.
mean, I haven't really looked into the technology. I'm more than sure there is,
Because
especially.
I haven't heard of that, but that would be like, because a water sensor, traditional water sensor lets out the sound, so you have to literally be in the house.
Correct.
If you could get something that would link to
Link
to
to
your
your
phone,
phone and alert
right?
you. Maybe there's a possible way to stop it from your phone.
Yeah,
That's huge. I'm not 100% sure
we're
if
onto
it
something.
exists.
We should do that.
Yeah, there you go. We gotta trademark that
Yeah,
before
you
they
gotta
take it
trademark
from
that
us.
fast. I know a trademark attorney.
We do. But
Okay,
those things
okay.
are huge. Yeah.
Okay, so what are three things that homeowners can do right now, um, other than checking their policies? They need to check their policies immediately, but to better prepare their homes for long-term insurability. I think we covered most of it, but the roof,
Yeah, so first thing is just maintaining your documents and update your home. So making sure your HVAC is good, which is your AC, your electrical is in good pristine order. Um, your roof is obviously doing well, and then your roof and your plumbing. Make sure your plumbing is not leaking. You see any broken things, just change it. Those are the first four things. The second thing,
do you think that people should be reviewing their policies with their insurance advisors in January? Because I think that would be a good time to do it, right?
yeah, renewals. So you get a renewal date 45 days before. So that's the first. January is roughly because there's a lot of things coming now at that time. I'll say probably end of January, beginning of February,
Oh,
because
February. Okay, because right,
yeah,
you're right,
at
because all
beginning
the
of the year,
legislative sessions are, yeah.
exactly at the beginning of the year, there's a bit of a policy changes. Companies like, for example, like now 2027, Citizens is changing their, everybody's getting now has to get flood. So there's a lot of things that are moving
So
parts at the
you
beginning of
think
January.
maybe like February, March?
Yeah, yeah, February, March. As long as you do it anywhere between the February to like first 2 weeks of May,
Right, I'm just
you're in good.
just something to put in your calendar. Review your policy with your insurance
Yep. You can
advisor.
set a reminder on your phone, put it on the
Yeah,
calendar, and then, like I said,
every year.
every year just review it. Obviously, when you get the renewal, that's perfect. But if for whatever reason it passes your head, you have that time frame to do it. Because if you're in that time, most companies, you can cancel a policy and rewrite with no additional charge. You will get your money back. Yeah, when you go into hurricane season, it's a little different. I've even seen there's surplus companies. Surplus companies basically is just the regular writers through brokers that work with us. So they bring the company to Florida, like a big company, which is Lloyd's of London. They work mainly through brokerages. Those companies, if you cancel during term, which is most of them are full policies, they charge you an MEP of 50%. So you
Well,
cancel that policy and they keep 50%. It's written in the app. And
you
usually
gotta read the fine
you
print.
have to read it. And usually if you cancel during term within the year, so anytime, 25%, which is still a big chunk. I mean, it's money you already paid and now you're giving it back to the
You
company.
really know, you're very knowledgeable. I'm impressed.
I try
How
to
can
keep
people
up with these
reach
people.
you? What's your contact info?
So my email is my name, which is Alexander.Perez at John, John, Galt, Galt, insurance.com. My phone number is 786-740-5456. And if not, you can always look for me. You always can call my company and say, hey, where's this kid at? And you can call in for me. Um, yeah, I'm fully reachable. I try to always answer my phone. And if it's, I'm an agent that if you have a good policy, I will not want you to leave it. So even if it's just reviewing your policy and making sure that you are well covered or that you are well insured, shopping it, seeing if it's worth it in the market. And if it's not, I'll say, hey, stay with the company. You're doing great. We'll check back in
Yeah,
at renewal next
that's
year.
really nice, that there's not a lot of people that are as honest. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the bigger thing is honesty, it always pays back, but also, if we all have a reputation to
exactly.
keep, you don't want to, once you seem shady, that's it. That's your
And
view.
there's a lot of shady in Miami.
It's a lot. It's
A
unfortunately,
lot. Yeah.
it's a lot more than honest people probably, I'll say.
Okay, so I do want to add just as they're ending, Miami, the window to buy. Yeah, I'm not trying to discourage people from buying property because it's I mean, property values are going through the roof. Obviously, with the super high end, we know this with the wealth migration from New York City and California, et cetera. Um, but they're here. they're living here full time. They're going to be opening their companies here. They're going to have followers coming down. All their workforce is going to be coming down. So I believe that we are looking at probably the last somewhat affordable housing. And by that, I mean, under $1.5 million. I know. Um,
That's huge.
yeah,
So
I
you
know.
don't think the market, even with the rates, because the mortgage rates have gone down a little bit, you don't think the market would ever subside down or
I
decrease?
mean, you know what? I would have to take something very extreme. I don't want to say never, because in the last 5 years, we've had a global pandemic, we've had a group building collapse, we've had, I'm not going to say never, but based on what we know right now today,
Our trajectory currently, yeah,
yeah, I can only speak on what's happening today. But what I think is that what's happening in the high end is going to trickle down into other markets. And so if, I really think that it is a good time to buy. You have to buy smart. You have to buy in the right location. You need to really be concerned with elevation and drainage. And, those are things that I'm always looking at. Um, I think those things are crucial. Wouldn't you agree?
that's big. I 100% agree. I think if you should not buy a home if you think you're gonna move out of it in 2 years. Buy it as if you're gonna buy it as an investment or you're gonna buy it with your family in it. Buy smart, and use not a realtor that you found somewhere, you know, use a realtor
On
that knows it
Zillow
like
or one of
Maji,
these other consumer sites, people don't
because
understand that. They can click on a
they do
tour.
not understand and they don't have the care for the client as much as somebody like Maji would, that is looking not right now, not how pretty the house is, but 5, 10, 20 years down the line.
Yeah, very few realtors are doing that. I think I know like one, one that I could
Mhm.
say in my market that's doing that.
And with the
But
amount of, and with the, I always say there's a lot of insurance agents, there's a lot of realtors in Florida,
yeah,
but to be honest, to be
yeah.
correct, to be understandable, and to help the client, very few people exist,
Ah, I
especially in
love
Florida.
this. I'm loving this. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much. I think this has been awesome, and you are really knowledgeable, very impressed, and you gave
Thank you.
us a lot to think about.
Thank you, Maji. And I really appreciate the time, and hopefully I'll be back here soon. Hopefully not with
Sure
bad
you
news.
will, but I'm sure you will, because there will be some changes.
Take
Okay,
care.
hold on. I'm going to stop the recording.